Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I thought I would give you guys my top 6 tips as a new nurse. So before we get into this video, if you are new, welcome and hello. I'm Brittany. I'm an ICU nurse and I graduated May of 2019 and I started in the intensive care unit as a new grad in September. So I actually passed my NCLEX in June, so it took a while for like the onboarding process, but yeah. So I thought I would jump on here and give you guys my top 6 tips for just new nurses in general, and you can really take these tips on any floor or any specialty that you're going into. And the reason why I chose 6 tips is because my 6-month anniversary is coming up. So I will have been a nurse in the ICU for 6 months in the next couple days. So it's pretty crazy to think that like 6 months ago I knew nothing and I felt like such a newbie. I still feel like a newbie and I still sometimes feel overwhelmed and I sometimes feel like I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but then I quickly realized that I do know. And sometimes it's more of like building self-confidence as a new nurse, because that is something I lacked so much. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic for another day. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna look at my phone because I put my tips here, and I apologize for any echoing that you guys might hear. My house is still a little bit empty, so just ignore it. Okay, so tip number 1, you want to make sure to take advantage of your orientation. So if you're on any floor or any unit, you're going to get not a couple weeks. I got about 14 weeks of orientation with a preceptor in the ICU. So for 14 weeks, I had a more experienced nurse with me, kind of helping me and all that stuff. Now, the reason why I say to take advantage of the time that you're precepting is because once you're on your own, like that's it. You're never gonna go back and get a preceptor ever. And this isn't just in the ICU. I know that like in L&D and then the emergency room, they also do preceptorship. I know that they also, have like certain amount of weeks of training. So just make sure you take advantage of that. Try to experience everything you can, and just get your feet wet as much as you can, because once that time is over, you're on your own and you don't really have anyone there to be like, hey, maybe you should do it this way, or if you have questions. Like I had tons of questions. I still have a lot of questions, but when you're on preceptorship, it's like that one person is assigned to you, so it's much better. Okay, also in addition to that, what I just mentioned, you want to make sure that during your preceptorship, you ask as many questions as you want. And even if you're an experienced nurse and you go into the ICU, you still get a certain amount of training or orientation with somebody else. Okay, so this leads me to my next tip, is to organize and create a brain book. You want to put in there hospital policies, common procedures that you do on your floor. You want to put in phone numbers. You want to put in common diseases that you see and interventions that you'll be doing, common medications, things of that nature. And I'll show you guys like just a little clip of my brain book here. Some lab values that should know. Handoff report, what kind of I should know, like when I'm giving, when it's morning rounds, like interdisciplinary rounding, I should know everything about everything, like each of these numbered about my patient all the time. And then we kind of go into like ACE inhibitors, vasodilators. This is our facilities, like our drips that we run in the ICU. Like the drug concentration that it comes in, and then our initial dose. And then this here is like my own little research that I've done. So like on septic shock, anaphylactic shock causes, treatments, the different types of shock. And then here we have just more of like
hyponatremia, potassium.
And the reason why I think it's a good idea to create a brain book is because after you are done with your preceptorship, you want to have like a little book that's your resource specifically for you. You don't want to have to keep asking the same questions, because I mean, you don't want to keep asking like, oh, what's so-and-so's phone number? And you can just have it in your brain book. So it's good to ask questions, but don't ask questions that are kind of common sense and that you can kind of find on your own. So I highly recommend you create a brain book. 3, this one is a little hard to explain, but you want to recognize the nurses that you can go to, because I think the way a new grad, or the way any nurse survives on their floor, is when there's good teamwork. And not everybody is good at being a team. Not every nurse is going to sit there and help you, or not every nurse is going to, stop what they're doing and answer a question, but there will be those nurses that do that. So you want to be sure to recognize the ones that are willing to help you, and try, especially when you're new and you are done off of preceptorship or orientation, you're done with orientation, you want to try and schedule yourself as much as possible with people that are going to help you and they're going to support you, because that is how you will thrive as a new nurse. I know I have been able to identify the nurses that have helped me throughout this, transition of being a nursing student to a new nurse. So it's really important to understand that, and to, build work relationships with people, and also in return you're going to help them when they need it. Because it's interesting, I used to think that other people were the only ones that were going to be helping me, but there have been times that I've helped other experienced nurses. Like suddenly their patient is crashing and their other patient needs something, I jump in there and I'll help whenever I can. So it's good to, you expect help from other people, but you also need to be there and help other people as well. My next one, number 4, is self-care. This is so important. After I usually do my 3 12s in a row, just because I like kind of getting them over with, and I like just having more days off with my kids. However, 3 12s in a row really drains you. I know that after my second shift on, I am very tired, I'm grouchy, I'm grumpy, I am just not very happy. But I've come to realize that after my 3 days in a row, my first day off, I have to hit the gym or go and just like sit near the pool, drink some coffee, and just kind of take some time to realize that I know I'm a nurse and that's what I do, but that's not the only thing. That's not what I am all the time. When I am off work, I am mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I'm a friend to people. So I have to remember to sometimes step back and like, yes, work is important. Yes, I love being a nurse, but I have to sometimes a lot of the times I have to detach myself from what I do at work to what I want to do at home. And it's really hard to explain, but just make sure that you know how to leave work at work, and when you come home, you enjoy your time off and you do things that replenish you as a new nurse, because if you don't, you will get burnt out very easily. All right. Tip number 5, this one's really important. When you're a new nurse on any floor and you start seeing, diseases, you start seeing certain medications, and you are not sure, you're not familiar with it, when you go home, at least put in 30 minutes of study time. Study the disease that you saw that you were not comfortable with. Study the medications that you were not comfortable giving or that you were uncertain, what their side effects are. Study even when you get home, but I'm not saying to study for like a whole hour. But you want to make sure that you understood exactly what happened, why you did what you did, why you gave the medication that you did, because that is only going to enhance your knowledge as a nurse. And you don't want to be the type of nurse that is just doing things, doing tasks, doing interventions because you're being told to do it. Absolutely don't ever be that type of nurse. Question everything that you're doing. Question it, like, why did I do this? Or why am I doing, I usually question it as right before I'm about to do something. I'm like, wait, why am I even giving this? Or, you know, why is, you know, after I give a medication, why is their blood pressure reacting in a certain way? So I'm always questioning everything. So then I come home and I'm like wondering a bunch of questions. So I study at least 30 minutes after work, right before I go to bed. You know, as I'm scrolling through my phone, I'm looking up like certain medications that I'm unfamiliar with in the ICU. So I highly recommend that. And then if you can, jot down a couple notes and put it in the brain book. That way you start building, you know, your resources and your understanding diseases and medications. All right, and number 6, lastly, this one is so important. I think just all of them are important, but this one is like hits the nail on the head. Remember that as a new nurse, you're learning so much, okay? And you will make mistakes. You will feel dumb sometimes. You will have doctors that will make you feel incompetent or try to make you feel incompetent. Don't ever let a doctor make you feel that way. But be gentle with yourself. I know that this is, I need to listen to my own advice, because whenever there's something I don't do right or there's something I don't know, I'm very hard on myself. And that is not going to benefit me in any way. So I've been working on being more gentle with myself and reminding myself that I am learning, I'm new. I'm very good with constructive criticism. I know that I don't know everything as a new nurse, but there are things I do know, and I'm certain that I know certain things. But when it comes to the things I don't know, I'm not going to pretend that I know them. I'm very honest and I'm very upfront with people. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or I don't feel comfortable giving this, or because I know that I'm new. I'm very open to learning. So be open to learning, and remember that you're still learning every day. And even those experienced nurses learn something new every day. Like, I don't care. You could be a nurse for 50 years, you're still gonna learn something new every single day. I promise. All right, guys, well, those are my 6 tips for being a new nurse. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Give me a big thumbs up if they did help you, and let me know if you're a new nurse, if you're graduating nursing school, or if you're an experienced nurse. Leave comments down below, and I will talk to you